unearthing talent on the reality show, TV3's own Mentor. And so make sure that for each year when Mentor is convened, you're part of those who also get to celebrate alongside and support that great initiative of music talent unearthing and reality show that has stood the test of time, DSL. You can find him on his social media handles, and talk about social media. TV3 Ghana always available for you. Some great people so far, and we have to say that we're grateful that you've joined us. We have cash out. It goes with a short code *439#. Do well to dial *439#, and then subsequently, when the prompt pops up, choose 2, option 2, and 10 people will be receiving 1,000 Ghana cedis each. But you can only be part of the 10 if you increase the number of tickets as you dial *439# by choosing option 2, increasing the number of tickets you have. Some great people. For example, John Bosco Akwatia, wishing you all the best for the day. He has a great event today, and is part of those who will be moderating a quiz competition, because he's part of the Ghana Education Service doing some great work for his people. And John Bosco, please make sure that you are part of Cash Out. Make the children smile today. Increase the number of tickets you have as part of the Basic Schools Annual Quiz Competition, the 2025 edition in the whole West District. And so they have good contesting people. So John Bosco will be moderating, will become the quiz master. And so please, wishing you all the best for the day, John Bosco. Now, Vida Noshi, you're part of our regular watchers. You're celebrating your birthday today, Vida. Wishing you all the best for the day. Abiba Asoma, Ghana National Association of Teachers. You also celebrate your birthday, great lady. She's contesting for the Northern Region position, one of those positions there. And Abiba Asoma in Tamale, Ghana National Association of Teachers. Celebrating your birthday, great lady, pursuing her PhD, and so I guess it's apt celebrating that birthday, as she also vies for that position of the Northern Region NATLAS coordinator. Wishing you all the best. You are number 2 on the ballot, number 2 on the ballot, as well as all those who will be joining us as well, including Lawson Jandu and the rest. Raffle Osebunso, please. We have some great people. Today, we told you about the former President John Agyekum Kufuor, and in a Tell It All interview, apparently had been harboring a lot of pain, sentiments within him, because now he has revealed that he's been bottled in, hasn't been let loose to contribute his quota as a great statesman of the Dankwabuzia tradition to the MPP. He's been lamenting so far. And so we'll be talking about that. How come he got to this stage as well? Please make sure you join us. But that will be our second interaction. The first one certainly will be about what transpired on Friday and the discussions through Saturday. We have a by-election coming in Akwatia. What should be the responsibility of everybody else, including the security forces, the police especially? You find that on Friday, Election Command Center, we brought you that live coverage. Even the police were running. The police were doing touch and go, whether to go in, not to go in. So the police just didn't depict the right sort of posture. What should we do to prevent a recurrence of this in Akwatia, as well as other by-elections we may see, a mainstream election? Even the police were overpowered. How? How was that possible? Only 19 polling stations. So after the pepper spray was, then after that, I mean, what should be done to make sure that we don't see a recurrence of this? No. Chairman Dominic Ichampong of Edjuso, wishing all the best for the day. Great guy. Dominic Kessi Edjuso, and celebrate your birthday as well. Chairman Dominic, happy birthday to you. But what do you make of this as well? Give me some comment, Chairman Dominic. All right. So we have great people in the studio to help us do the discussions. I'm just introduced to you Dr. Tutu Boahin. Good morning to you, Dr. Tutu Boahin.
Good morning, Papa Ro.
Great man, great man. And thank you for joining us this morning.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then I have Agbana. Agbana, how are you?
Roland, I'm doing great.
Great. Member of Parliament for... Good to see you as well.
Thank you.
And yesterday you watched the Chelsea match? Did you watch?
Yes, I did.
Did you meet Dr. Mahmoud Baumia? He came to the NC shopping mall.
He came to our
Honeysuckle?
Okay. Yes, it was there. And
I saw you posted
it was beautiful. It was a beautiful evening watching football. And for the first time in my life, I was cheering Chelsea on. Because I got a vision. You can call me a prophet. I prophesied earlier that Chelsea was going to win the trophy, or was going to leave the trophy, and it came to pass. Okay. So next time when you have a match, call me to give you some prophecies.
All right. All the children of Prophet Wolven will always do that of ARS.
Exactly.
And then of course, lawyer Apia Dankwa. Apart from Kotoko, which other team do you support?
Oh, bro. Okay, so I thought I came here proudly wearing my red with the liver bed on my chest.
Which red is that?
I don't support Liverpool. That's why I deliberately liked it.
No, I don't.
I'm a Chelsea fan.
It's not the Man U's
Kotoko and Chelsea.
It's not Man U's faded red. It is the proper red. So Kotoko and the proper red with the liver bed upon her chest.
All right. They never walk alone.
Yeah, never walk alone.
Yeah. They won the league, so Charlie is okay. Please make sure you share the stream. Dominic Kessie Champong, the NDC Vice Chair for the Ayawaso constituency. Good morning to you. Happy birthday. +1 today. Wishing you all the best. And for all those who have joined us, including Prince Nanea Oyonk, we're grateful that you join us. And all of you, please, wishing you all the best for the day, including Mani, Vida Noshi, you're celebrating your birthday, Vida and as well. All those who have joined, please share the stream. Let's have some great call. But let's do a recall of what transpired. We'll have some insights from the Electoral Commission's declaration, and then also the candidates, MP-elect for Ablekuma North since 1990. It is the first time the NDC is occupying the seat. Indeed, before the last election, that'll be 2024, it was assumed that it is the stronghold of the MPP. All right, the numbers seem to have dwindled. But going by historical records, I don't know, it can still be so unless this becomes a trend before you can say it still is. But Irabna Obing of the NDC is now the MP-elect. So she should be sworn into office either a day today or tomorrow, one of them. But let's do a recall.
Total valid vote 68,917. Rejected vote 411. Now for Nana Epia Owusu Efiye, she pulled 33,881. Erebna Obing pulled 34,090. So I, Joseph Ni Kwatela Kwoti, the returning officer of Ablekuma North constituency, do declare Erabna Abuya Obing, the NDC candidate, as the MP elects for Ablekuma North constituency.
Finally, I'm saying, I said that the man I mean the kind. Ona Omadi na fine. Amada Ablekuma North also ase. Say omunya agidi wo memo na ekon na ye ko omudina mechi. Mada party mpanifo na so ase. Madam Valerie Soya ase. The party mpanifo, regional executives, national executives, lawyer for Obi Amikasa mi bubodi ya. Ebi amebobi mejebi. The police, the media. I think the media did a great job during the recollation. Mona modi niema bebre etu bear because maybe our voices will not be heard and then the wrongs will not be exposed. I am so excited about the work the media did during that period. In Ablekuma North, our issues are quite simple but deep because it's existed for a very long time. Flooding, sanitation issues, poor roads, gutters, etc. These basic things, we are deprived of. So I'm sure we'll work at it.
Well, so that's here. The MP-elect Irabna Obing. That said, we know all that transpired. The former minister as well as MP. We have for Eutu as well, and subsequently brutalized, beaten. After following, she sprayed the thing, then they beat her and all those things. But, the discussion has been, how do we prevent recurrence of this violence and the beatings that took place, the breakdown in security architecture, so to speak? What needs to be done? What needs to be done? It's very important because we just have a by-election coming up. So we just have a by-election coming up. So what do we do? Edem Agbana.
Well, Roland, let me say good morning to my brothers on the panel this morning and to our cherished viewers across the world, especially to the good people of Ketu North. And let me use this great opportunity to extend my deepest gratitude and appreciations to the Volta Health Network, an NGO that over the weekend organized a very successful medical outreach in my constituency. Hundreds of constituents benefited from free surgeries, and it was a life-saving, life-touching experience for many of my constituents, because for some of the cases that were treated, these were cases that some patients needed over 100,000 Ghana cedis to have their conditions resolved. But by God's grace and by support of the Volta Health Network, they got treated and surgeries performed for them free of charge. And so I want to thank the Volta Health Network sincerely for the impactful work that they did in my constituency over the weekend. And I want to say a big thank you to all the donors, those who made it possible. Roland, the scenes that unfolded during the Ablekuma North rerun in the 19 polling stations remains a stain on our democracy. Violence is a threat to the very foundations of our democratic order. And I join the many discerning Ghanaians, many discerning voices in condemning the violence that erupted at Ablekuma North on Friday, because we must get to a situation where elections are peaceful, elections are free and fair, and elections are transparent, such that every Ghanaian will feel safe to move to the polling station to cast a vote. And so I condemn the violence. But Roland, while condemning the violence, I want to call on the security agencies. I'm calling on the government to ensure that justice be swift, because when justice is visible, swift, and uncompromising, it becomes a deterrent to anyone who intends to carry out any act of violence in an election. Roland, I am a victim of Ayawaso West Wugon election violence. I visited the Legon Hall polling station on that fateful day. I had my tag, monitoring tag, as a national executive of the NDC at the time. A tag that was signed by the Electoral Commission, which permitted me to enter into polling stations and interact with our agents. I got to Legon Hall polling station under no provocation, just having a conversation with our agents, armed men, moved and attacked me. No provocation. I had no arms, no weapons, not even a pen on me. But I was attacked.
I don't understand.
I did not carry pepper spray to the polling station, but I was attacked. And I was a victim of the Ayawaso West Wugon by-elections. And we all saw what happened in Ayawaso West Wugon. And so, for 5 good years, many of us have lived with that trauma of that experience. I recall one of my friends, a lawyer, Gideon Koku Abochi, was with me in my car. We moved out to just go and have a word with our agents. I was attacked by men who were masked and who were in national security uniforms. And some of them were following Nana B, the national organizer of the NPP. After the incident, their identities were revealed to me because I could recognize them. People asked me to go on reprisal attacks and all of that, but I chose to let go because violence was not the way to seek justice, or reprisal attack for me was not the way. I waited for the state all these years, myself and all the other victims, Sam George and all the others, those who are still amputated from Ayawaso West Wugon. Till today, no justice has been served. And so, because there is no justice, look, these things encourages others to misbehave in the name of thuggery, in the name of political vigilantism. No, I'm making a point.
Okay.
And again, Roland, I have heard some commentary from Friday. Like I said, I condemn the violence. But let nobody sit either on this platform or anywhere in this country and equate what happened in Ablekuma North to what happened in Ayawaso West Wugon by election.
It's equally wrong.
It is, Roland, you see, get my position right. Violence is wrong. Violence in any form must be condemned. And so it is wrong. And two wrongs do not make a right. But my point is that there is an essential difference, very fundamental difference between Ablekuma North election rerun and what happened at Ayawaso West Wugon. And I will tell you, what we saw.
And then violence is violence.
Violence is violence. But you see, we have to have this discussion dispassionately.
So are you saying
and look at the essentials?
There should be mosaic law, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth.
I am not. See, I started by condemning the violence, and I'm not justifying it. But it's important, if we are looking for a solution, it is important for us to look at the nuances of the cases that are before us. Now, people have said there was Chereponi, there was Talensi, there was Etiwa, where President Kufuor himself said, Etiwa kra Echiomu bibi kakra. So that should even give you an indication the people who led that particular violence. Because he himself came out to confess. Now, Roland, Etiwa, Chereponi, Talensi, and what have you, from my readings and my experience with those elections, these were clashes between political parties, or tags, or let me say internal secrets of both parties. But Ayawaso West is what we describe as a state-sponsored vigilantism, and that must not be lost on us. And so I have a problem with those who want to equate Ayawaso West Wugon by-election violence to what happened at Ablekuma North.
What's the difference?
The difference is that one was sponsored by the state, one was on the command of the state, and the men who perpetrated that violence and near killing, near murder of innocent Ghanaians were clad in national security uniforms. That is the essential.
Supposed to be peaceful.
Elections are supposed to be peaceful.
The state has the responsibility
so when you have the
state,
exactly, I agree with you. So when you have the situation where the state that must protect the Ghanaian, the ordinary citizen, is the one that led the violence, let us not discuss it and try to equate it to what happened at Ablekuma North. Again, I'm repeating that I condemn what happened at Ablekuma North. I believe that everybody who was involved must be brought to book. But let us discuss this looking at the differences in them. Ayawaso West Wugon was a state-sponsored vigilantism. And when you listen to what happened at the commission of inquiry that they themselves set up, clearly it came out that those men who were armed, who perpetrated the violence, who
brutalized people, including myself, were all cladded in national security apparels. It means that they were acting on the orders of some superiors who had the mandate of the state. So let's not try to equate the two. Probably, Roland, if Ayawaso West Wugon victims had seen justice being served, if the families of the 8 Ghanaians who lost their lives in the 2020 elections had seen justice, if the victims of the Asin North elections, where I was seated with my former boss, the Minister for Youth now, George Opariado, and his car was shot at by operatives of national security. If all the victims of all these actions had seen some justice, I believe we would not have gotten to the point where Ablekuma North people would have gone there to misbehave. And so, as I join the voices demanding for justice and condemning the act, let it not be lost on us that the people who are crying today about justice, including Dr. Baumia, who is promising that no matter how long it takes, victims of Ablekuma North election rerun violence will be self-justice. Why? All the Ghanaians, okay, the victims of Ayawaso West, the 2020 elections, are seen not by election. They are not Ghanaians.
I don't understand.
They don't deserve justice.
Okay, so
Dr. Baumia was the chairman of the police council at the time. I am calling for justice. And I believe that President Mahama will ensure that everybody who was affected by this violence will get justice. But I'm only calling out the hypocrisy of the MPP and their allies, who today are preaching justice as though under them, or as this is the first time we are seeing election violence. Well, what happened to all the recommendations of the Commission of Inquiry on the Ayawaso West Wugon? Tell me which of the recommendations they implemented.
Well, subsequently led to us having the anti-vigilantism law.
Oh, if you have anti-vigilantism law, is that justice to the people that were affected when on camera we saw those who perpetrated the acts of violence? We still have the pictures. We still have the videos and the images of those who were involved in the act. You ignored it, you left it. Why? Was it a recommendation that allowed those who engage in that criminality on the instructions of the state? Because like I said, they were acting on behalf of the state. And that amounts to state-sponsored vigilantism. That is essentially different, fundamentally different from what happened at Ablekuma North. Roland, we must go into the next by-election and future by-elections with the EC itself also making some changes to their security arrangements towards elections. What was the business of Hawa Kumsin at a polling station with pepper spray? Was she an accredited agent? Was she there with a tag? We need to redefine how we protect our polling stations during elections of this nature. Roland, again, in concluding, I condemn the act of violence. I am calling for swift action in demanding for justice for those who were affected. But again, government must not forget that we have many unresolved cases of this nature, especially the state-sponsored Ayawaso West Wugon by-election violence. We want justice. I want justice for the gentleman that was with Nana B that assaulted me. I have his pictures, I have all his details. I want justice. So you cannot be preaching or demanding justice for Ablekuma North when there are many unresolved ones. Let us approach these issues holistically, Roland. Thank you.
If both parties go up and down, top, bottom, and then also left, right, center on the subject, then we're getting no end. Because at the end of the day, they are the two main political parties that have occupied executive positions since 1992. How do we make sure going into the Akwatia election, the immediate action that has been undertaken is not repeated?
So let me wish your lovely viewers a good morning. Let me wish yourself a good morning. I can see you are very happy this morning.
Chelsea fan.
Yeah. Let me wish my brother Honorable Edem a good morning and my own professor a good morning. You see, for me, what happened on Friday, what happened in Ayawaso, what has been happening in some of our elections in Techiman. In fact, I had the unpleasant experience of falling into one during the last election in Sawum. You understand? For me, it's evidence of the fact that when it comes to elections, which is supposed to be an expression of a third of what democracy ought to be, what we do in Ghana here is not really an election. It really is a power struggle. It's a power struggle. You understand? And the violence we see is just evidence of that power struggle. You understand? And that's why sometimes I want to call what we think is a democracy a kakistocracy, really. Because we see what we call election as an opportunity to get power, also because of how we see that power. Generally, we see power in this country not as a means to serve, but as a means at self-aggrandizement. And so we have a situation where in a democracy, people pursue power, but really do not want to work. And that's what we saw at Ablekuma North on Friday. Now, for me, there are so many strands to this. The first bit has to do with our collective failure as a people to build that right political culture that would abhor some of these things. Because if you go into history, and if you take into consideration the hallowed words of Abraham Lincoln on the fields of Gettysburg, and what largely has been accepted as the definition of what democracy ought to be, that is what is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And if you also take into consideration that Abraham Lincoln felt that the lives that were lost in the midst of the American Civil War was to protect this noble ideal that power ought to emanate from the people, and it should be by the people and for the benefit of the people. Then I think that in a part of the world, or in Ghana, we are playing with this noble idea. And to fight like they fight is to fight against the words of our constitution that says that sovereign power belongs to the people. And because of that, in light of what you are saying, how do we prevent this? It means that the people themselves, the repository of sovereign power, have to find a way of participating seriously in this democracy. Because if we leave it into the hands of our political parties, certain elements in them, and sadly those elements that want to turn elections into a power struggle seem to have taken control. Because if there's one thing I can bet you, that like the perpetrators of the Ayawaso West Wagon did not face any sanctions. The perpetrators of these acts won't face any sanctions.
Why shouldn't they?
I'm not saying that they shouldn't face.
But you're talking about a certain reality. Trend of a phenomenon.
They won't face any sanction. As in, we'll pretend the police has come out with some, but they won't face sanction. And see, so from the first problem is the culture, the kind of culture we've built in this country, or the right, our failure to build the right political culture, and what that does to the prospects of this democracy being sustained. I mean, we failed as a people to build the right political culture that would tolerate diverse views and hold political leadership accountable. We failed. We failed to do that. The state itself has failed. The political parties have failed. And for me, if His Excellency John Mahama is supposed to lead a proper reset, then that reset agenda would have failed if we failed to turn around this negative political culture. I wouldn't say it's creeping. That has crept, as in, that is now
a mainstay
in our politics. As in, it is totally unacceptable, and we should not tolerate it.
Let me ask you a question. I have heard since Friday, and myself, that shot in which some judge was slapped, that has gone viral. I took it. I was then doing part-time with Joy News at the time. I took it with my phone. And I only got away because I knew some people within the personnel from National Security who had come, who warned me I should stop.
Yeah.
I was even supposed to have testified at the
commission.
Yeah, but the threats that I was receiving on my phone and all that, so I ceded that to Evans Mensah at the time, and subsequently sought advice from Sam Ladianyen.
Yeah.
Now, how do we look back and say immediately there should be justice for the victims, especially from 2019, even if we have to go back, but especially looking at how gruesome Ayawaso West Wogon was, and then subsequently maybe 2020, the deaths that were recorded, so that perhaps we can then have a certain justification for saying if there's no justice, there will be no peace. You see, because there seem to be pent-up feelings among people.
You see, so for me, you see how we see justice in the sense of crime. See, when you take crime, justice, when justice is done or where there's lack of justice, it's not really to the victim. Justice is to the state. And that's why where a crime has been done, the person that has really been wronged is the state itself. And it's for no reason why, when it comes to crime, what's it called? It does not expire. So if there's real commitment, we can go back to all the instances. But you see, I'm saying that these violence are just the evidence. The real canker is there. And the real canker, I'm saying, is how our politicians view power or political authority. Is it to serve or is it to advance their parochial agenda? Because you see, because they see power as a means to advance their personal agenda and the agenda of their party. Just simply go into the national security. Whenever there's a change of government, there's a fundamental change of the personnel of national security. So right now you go there, I'm not even talking about the top echelons of national security, but it's filled by these party thugs. So during the Ayawaso Wogon, the so-called nationals, they were essentially party thugs. Yeah, you understand? If I'll even go beyond Ayawaso, where you had a situation where thugs could have the cockroach audacity to go to the court and take away somebody who was being charged by the state for a crime. You understand? Goes at the heart of all the wrongs that we are perpetrating as a people. You understand? It goes at the heart of it. Now, we say we want, the purpose of this democracy is to protect our lives, is to protect our liberties, is to protect our rights to pursue our own happiness. And one of the key institutions to ensure that is the police force. But over the years, we've sat down and we've allowed our politicians to chip away at some of the fundamental principles that ought to govern how people are even recruited into the police force. There's no merit in the police force right now. Right now, you have a police force that is sharply divided on the lines of partisanship because of the manner in which people are even recruited into the police force. And so you have a very weak police. As in, when all this was happening, you saw heavy presence of the police. It wasn't that we didn't have enough.
The personnel there.
Yeah. Rather, the police were rather attacking innocent journalists. When people were perpetrating offense, the police were rather interested in attacking the journalists. You understand? And for me, I'm saying that that's a concern. So, because, one, we've built the wrong political culture, because the essence of governance has been lost to us as the people, because governance has now left the hallowed realm of service to advancing our parochial interests, then we've created a situation where power, authority, rather than being used to serve the purpose for which this democracy was created in the first place, is being used to brutalize us, to advance parochial political agendas. And listen, I condemn in no uncertain terms. For me, if Ayawaso West Wogon must be condemned, and it should be condemned, then what happened on Friday must equally be condemned. You understand? And I know where my NDC friends are coming from when they mention, but see, that kind of communication does not help them and does not help our country. You understand? Because as much as you are condemning it, immediately you bring Ayawaso West Wogon You understand? In all its negativity. Then, in a way, you are trying to justify what happened. Meanwhile, we've given you authority, executive authority. You understand? So instead of bringing up Ayawaso West Wogon, show real commitment at pursuing real justice, real commitment at showing proper leadership, by not only prosecuting the thugs who perpetrated the Ablekuma North, but going to Ayawaso West Wogon too. It's not enough us sitting on platforms and making reference to Ayawaso West Wogon, because that's the reason why we gave you that emphatic victory, unprecedented. Because how many times did I not personally come here and say that one of the reasons why Nanado must lose, sorry, the MPP must lose, one of the reasons why we should not vote for President Mahmoud Bawumia was because we also needed a fundamental reset in our political credibility. So we've given you the executive authority. For me, it does not serve any purpose for people in government to come and make reference to Ayawaso West Wogon. When really we've given you power, we've given you authority to serve our interest. Because justice, where a crime is committed, and what they've done is a crime. What happened? You understand? And you see, it's no defense to say that because the former council MP has committed so many wrongs, infractions, then it gives us the right, anybody the right to also then attack. She is also a Ghanaian. So rather than make those kind of communications, which does not help us in any way, which does not give any justification for why we even fought and got the reset in the first place, use the executive authority we've given you to bring real justice to Ghanaians. And that real justice is not just justice in respect of what happened at Ablekuma North, but real justice in terms of everything that happened in the past, because we are going into Akwatia, and I shudder to think at what will happen at Akwatia. Because right now you have a situation where we've created demi-evil people, monsters. That's right. Because we have a situation where the political players, the thugs, they see themselves as being above the law. They know that they can commit offenses once their party is in office, and nothing, absolutely nothing, is going to happen to them. Then, when we said in our constitution that one of the abiding principles that we want to underpin our constitution is the rule of law, where the rule of law says that we are all under the law and we are all equal before the law, then what's the essence of it? So, you see, for me, we need to put our country first. We need to create a Ghana where the ideals, the promise of this our constitution can be met. We need to create a Ghana where people we've given political authority to will show real commitment at using the power we've given them to create that utopia, that environment, that system, where all of our individual ambitions can find a place in. And so I'm calling on the president, I'm calling on the government, you understand, that we need justice. I'm saying where a crime has been committed, the justice is not only done to the victim. They are the victim, but justice is done to the country, to the people. And so we should not let the perpetrators of this heinous, the crimes that happen there, go scot-free. Because we need to send a signal loud and clear that if you commit a crime, it does not matter which political party you are in, you will be punished. There will be consequences for your offenses. And they should even go further to the Ayawaso West Wogon and to all the incidents where crimes have been committed against Ghana, because we need to make true the promise of this our constitution, and we'll be failing if we do not deliberately, as a people, led by the government, start making inroads in resetting a lot of these negative incidents in our country and in our politics. We need to tackle head-on this negative culture. We need to deliberately, the government leading and the political parties playing their role, because the role of the political party is not just to win power, sometimes they forget, but also the role, one of the fundamental roles of political parties is to play a serious part, for a leading role in creating the right political culture that will tolerate diverse views, that will hold political leadership accountable, because that's the only way in which we can guarantee for ourselves the rule of law. And without the rule of law, in all its forms and shapes, being guaranteed, then the promise of this our constitution, the rights that God himself gave us. That it was not any law that gave us our right to life. It was no law that gave us our right to our liberties. These are rights that were given to us by God, and all what the Constitution does is to guarantee them. And so, if we understand that without the rule of law, we cannot guarantee those rights, then when we are acting in some of these ways, that chips away at the rule of law. We'll be careful as a people.
Okay, Dr. Samuel Oefrie has joined us. Dr. Oefrie, been a while. How are you? Okay. There's brewing tension, actually. You listen to Dennis Miracles Abuaje, and then also vice versa, what the responses are. Well, the concern is there hasn't been justice for already maimed victims from the immediate past events. And so, well, justification for example, Kwesi Mensah says that if you carry a pepper spray to an election ground, what do you want to receive in return? And so, at the end of the day, she said she called or said in an interview that they have come to face NDC. And that was same by same Howard Kumson. Looking at his history, she herself started inciting people. But how do we make sure we don't carry this into Akwatia?
Okay, Papa Ru. Good morning once again.
Good morning.
Adam. And my brother, lawyer, Danka.
Yeah.
Very good morning.
Yeah, morning, Prof.
Papa Ru.
Good morning.
Let me say another good morning to Kojo Owusu-Ansah of Sunyane. A very good friend and an excellent media person. And to my friends at University of Education, Winneba. Papa Ru, I'm standing for UTAG Vice President at the University of Education, Winneba. So, just for the records, and also to let Papa Ru know that.
So you're standing for the Vice President of which party?
UTAG.
The
University
Teachers Association
in Ghana.
My apologies to you. It's a union.
Maybe one day I'll become a politician. Or
Right. Are you not on already?
Please go ahead.
Or you don't want me to be a politician?
Well, if you're a politician, it will be good. At least it will help improve the state of our being.
All right. So I've been reading about violence in our elections, and I chanced on a very good write-up by Kwesi Baini, which was written somewhere in 2019, 9th February.
Before Ayawaso West Wogo?
After. And I think he chronicled the Ayawaso incidents and a couple of them. You see, if you have followed elections in this country, whether general election or by-election, we are often on the sharp edges. It's as if you are sitting on tongues and you don't really know what is going to happen as to whether it is going to be peaceful, violent-free, or whatever. And for all this while, I don't think that there has been a particular year where, we've gone into an election without seeing or recording some form of violence or the other. So the issue is that the kind of elections that we conduct in this country, more or less, has become too dangerous to manage. And it's so bad. I think the lawyer got it right. When the two major political parties, NDC and PP, go into any election to struggle for power or to struggle for supremacy as their ultimate goal, and not focusing on the lives of people and to ensure that, they conduct the elections to protect innocent lives, then of course we are headed for trouble. All right. I also foresee that, look, elections in this country is becoming more or less like a war. War. W-A-R, war. Rather than governance. Okay. And that is why it is becoming quite difficult for EC to manage. It's becoming quite difficult for, the security agencies, equally to manage. And I feel that it is not good on our part. Actually, we are not doing anything possible, to protect our democracy and to build a democracy where, we would come out as, a leading democratic nation, of Africa, as and when we call ourselves, or we have branded ourselves as the star or the shining star of Africa. See, obviously, Ghana takes the lead in everything. But at the end of the day, people come to learn from us, and they do it better than we do it. So the moment we hit a certain point, we are too content with it. So I wouldn't be surprised that one day, the very countries that are learning from our democracy will do it better than what we are doing.
There's a question that cropped up on social media. If you have individuals like the former member of parliament and minister who was at the center of this, the receiving end of the brutality, and the immediate action she took while in office, in which we even reported live shots from her men, subsequently having missed fisticuffs, because you remember the last election we had been having what we call community engagement, so to speak, with the various candidates and their supporters, to the point that even the member of parliament now Koyu, who at the time was a candidate, had to languish in cells, etc. And nobody condemns such actions and the power that seemed to be wielded by those strong personalities. And they go out of power, and their presence are felt at election points where they also make some more transfers to the media that I'm here to face and etc. Don't you think that as analysts, those should be condemned first, and those become the precipitating factors on which there are pent-up feelings that result in reprisals?
So I wouldn't stand and defend any form of violence in an election because life is very expensive, right? And so I agree with what Edem had said, and I agree with what lawyer Piadankwa has equally said.
So you agree?
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. I mean, if you are a patriotic citizen of this country, right? Why would you support violence? Why? Why would you do that? And you see, Roland, me from day one, I have a principle, when it comes to elections. And my belief is that elections should be free, fair, and without violence. I also believe that when people take laws into their own hands, to perpetrate violence against a fellow human being, the law must take its course. And that is why I agree with the earlier submissions of my colleagues. All right? And I don't see why the people who actually committed crimes, in Ayawaso and other places, Tripoli and the rest, Etiwa, Talensi, will still walk with their shoulders high. So it only tells us that there's a breakdown of law in the country. When it comes to elections, there's a breakdown of law. And so, for me, I think that yes, the NDC is in power. So is it the case, that anybody who has committed crime, can walk free and walk free? Who is supposed to, lead that course. As we sit here, we can condemn. When we condemn, what next? Is the law working when we condemn? No. Somebody must act. There are institutions mandated to bring such, crimes to book. And we live in a global village, and we understand that when war crimes are created, you see, when war crimes have been established, right, people are called, International Court of Justice and all, and then they call them, probably arrange them before courts, and then prosecute them. Haven't you heard of some of these things? So why would people who have perpetrated some level of violence against people, shooting, and acting in ways and manners that are against the laws of this country, be walking freely? All right.
So what should be done going into Akwatia?
So Akwatia, all that we need is that the two major political parties, right, should probably talk among themselves, because the bus starts with them. If they will go, with the mindset that they are going to, as it were, conduct the by-election, with peace, that is what we will get. But if they are going in with an intention, to beat people, kill people, if they are going to go with the attacks and then crash on each other and then cause mayhem over there, then of course we will come back sitting here, discussing the same thing, condemning, but to no avail.
Okay.
All right. So the police service, what would they do? Going in there, I mean, obviously, Lawyer Dankwa had said that the police service is a weak institution. Is it the case? Because, what is it? Is it Asenof, Formina, right? Asenof, where, the police service took control, isn't it? And there wasn't any violence. So why have, sorry?
There were violent cases
in
Asenof. I was there.
Yes, violent but limited.
Not on the scale.
Maybe you were talking about Kumewu. Maybe you were talking about
so Kumewu, Agbana, and then Asenof, because Asenof we didn't record, not to the best of my knowledge though, but I stand to be corrected.
Did NDC contest Agbana?
No, NDC didn't
so
contest.
Maybe there was not, it wasn't that tense. Yes.
So, even if there are one or two incidences, which probably has demonstrated to us that we can conduct a by-election or an election without some streams of violence, then of course, why have we come to this point? Okay, so for me, I think that there is still room for improvement. Okay, and it will take all major stakeholders, the EC, who should be transparent, who should ensure that strict measures are put in place, to avoid situations where, ballots will be tampered with, ensure the security of people, the police people. What would they do? If there's a need for the police to beef up, whatever measures that they have to do to ensure that lives and property are protected, the ballot is equally protected, and free and fair elections conducted.
Okay.
That is all that we are looking for from Akwatia.
Dr. Efie, an eye for an eye, or going to Akwatia, we should be more circumspect by sitting down, looking at what has transpired?
Roland, it's quite unfortunate that we find ourselves in this situation, and it's very bad for all of us to see what happened at Ablekuma. And what we all need to know is that if we want to progress, common sense should reign. Common sense should be a key in Akwatia. If not, I'm sorry that the issues that will come out with will be so serious on our democracy. So I believe that the actors in this election, especially the security agencies, the police, need to be very cautious. Their intelligence should be at work, meet all people who are stakeholders in the election that's coming in Akwatia. And as I said earlier, common sense should reign. If not, it will be a difficult task for the elections in Akwatia and even subsequent ones. And I condemn whatever has happened previously in elections, rerun or whatever, runoff or whatever. We condemn all that. And I agree 100% to the panelists that there should be a committee that should ensure that all those perpetrators are brought to book. If not, there will be no justification for Ablekuma, and also all those that were involved in Ablekuma violence should also be brought to book. And I think the reset agenda by the government should also be considered in this situation. What I've realized is that it seems the political party, NDC, have forgotten that they are in government and they think that they are still a political party. They should not, because we realize that government officials were making comments as if that they are party activists. When you come to government and you hold positions as government officials, you have to be circumspect of your actions and your sayings and your inactions. Some statement by these officials should not be encouraged. They have to be seen as government officials working for the people of this country. When it comes to political activism, you have to know how to even coin your message. Don't act as if that you are not a government official, and you are a party activist, and that is what happened. And I believe that we need to work ourselves out and let our common sense reign in this perspective. Roland.
And so, Edem, going to Akwatia just in 3 minutes, then we'll talk President Kufuor's issues.
As a nation, we must confront the bitter truth that impunity fuels repetition. And if the state does not come out with any signal showing that we really want to confront these issues of election violence, people will go into Akwatia also to settle personal scores or to avenge for some impunity and abuse they suffered in the past. And that is why the Electoral Commission must review our security protocols towards elections. Roland, back to the examples that I was given. You see, in the beginning, I did not want to personalize the conversation or reduce the conversation to discussing an individual. But I've watched the videos as you play them again. In the instance that Nana Lloyd, or whatever, I don't know his name, the deputy organizer of MPP was abused, I saw clearly, and I wish that after the show you play the video again. He was entering, or he was getting closer to the polling station, and I saw some young men agitating that he should come out from there. And then it became a clash between the tax he entered the polling station with and those other young men. And that is why I said there is a rudimentary difference between Ayawaso West Wugon and Ablekuma North, because what happened at Ablekuma North was a clash between political parties. Ayawaso was a state-sponsored brutality against innocent citizens, including myself. But Roland, watch again the video of Hawa Kumsin. You see, the likes of Hawa Kumsin, over the last 8 years under the Kufuor Baumia impunity government, became arrowheads for violence. They took pride. Look, even at registration center, she was firing gunshots. She shot at one of the bodyguards of Nakoyo, and these issues have remained unresolved. Why you think those people, Tuareg and Co, they don't have families? Their blood is not precious. Some of them were family heads. They were the breadwinners for their family. So when you, Hawa Kumsin, who pride yourself with violence, calling yourself Kasua Van Dam and what have you, all of a sudden you are the heavyweight champion of violence.
perpetrator decided to enter polling station again with pepper spray, it means that she came there again with the same faulty thinking and ridiculous mindset that her government was in power to protect her, to come and perpetrate violence. The police must invite her and ask her why she entered the polling station with a weapon, because pepper spray is a weapon. We all saw the video, and she was spraying the pepper spray on the people. So these characters, Awakumsin and Co., Nanamu or Lloyd Amu or whatever, these characters must all be subjected to investigations, including the young men who ended up attacking them. We must ensure that we go into Akwatia with proper security protocols. And I can assure that the government of the day, and my brother on Zoom made a point. I speak for the NDC. I'm not a government official. I speak for the NDC as a political party, as a former deputy national youth organizer of this party, as a member of parliament representing the NDC for the good people of Ketu North. I can assure you that my government, the government of President Mahama, will not condone the level of impunity that we saw under Kufuor. But if we are calling for justice, don't only look at the reactions. Why did Awakumsi enter the polling station with a weapon, which is pepper spray? Didn't the security check her? Did she have accreditation? Even me with accreditation, with no weapon, not even with a pin, I was attacked by thugs cladded in national security uniforms. Roland, maybe after this, I will personally petition the president and the Council of State and all the necessary stakeholders that we should go back and seek justice for the victims of Ayawaso West Wugon, for the victims of Techiman South, victims of the 2020 elections, victims of Asin North election violence, and the many others. I am one of the victims. Those who are crying foul today, crying for justice, pretending as though, look, watch the videos. What was Awakumsin doing there with pepper spray?
But at the
what was she doing? That is a weapon. It means she went there with the same thinking, ill thinking that she was going to perpetrate violence, because that is what she's known for. Look at what she subjected Nakoyo to. She shot at people, and she openly admitted that she as MP, as a minister, was firing at people, shooting people in Kasua. Such notorious character. Today you went to a polling station with pepper spray, and there was a clash, and you are there crying for justice. And look, I've seen some videos when Dr. Baumia visited them. First, when the thing happened to Awakumsin, when she was in a room with security protection, Dennis Miracles was posting on Facebook that she was fighting for her life. At the time, she was happily in a hearty conversation with people in the room. And I have the videos. They were lying all over, looking for sympathy, that she was fighting for her life. When they visited the Nanamwa guy yesterday, he had bandaged his right leg and was complaining that the left was paining him. You see, this is what we call settings. Settings, because why do you bandage your right leg? That is what is paining. And then you were walking with expressing pain on the left. Settings. To behave as if what? Look, I have another video and I'll share with you. When the Amwa guy, the deputy organizer, entered the polling station, the number of macho men that came down from his car and the car that followed him. Look, we are asking for justice. It wasn't a one-sided event on Friday. And let nobody sit and be crying for justice without demanding why the notorious character of Awakumsin went to a polling station with pepper spray.
And going into Akwatia, what should we be doing? What should be, because it looks like Adam clearly says that there has to be retrospect. We have to go back, and then there has to be consistency. But an eye for an eye, mosaic law is not the way to go.
I think the first step towards preventing this atrocity, this barbaric acts from happening in Akwatia, is for investigations and prosecution to start on the people who committed the crime. For me, it's a crime. Yes, it's not about, it's a crime. You understand? Interestingly, we have their all over video. They are on video. They were caught red-handed committing an offense. So they should start by arresting them. investigating them, then that signal would have been set. You understand? They should arrest them, whether you are, and then you see to make this signal clear about we resetting this very negative culture that is now part of the politics here. Extend it to Ayawaso, where's we're going. You saw the guy that slapped Sam George. He slapped another tall guy. Some tall guy was holding a gun, slapped him, took 2 steps back.
We know all of them.
They should arrest all of them, including the guy who was slapped. He was holding a gun. You understand? Because then what that does is that sends a signal loud and clear that we are not going to tolerate these acts of impunity going forward on the altar of being members of political parties. Now, having said that, the political parties themselves are also failing us, especially the 2 major political parties. And these are efforts at creating the right political culture within our country to guarantee for us the rule of law. So they too must start. As in, it's better late than never to educate their rank and file, to let them understand. Listen, if you go and commit these atrocities, we will aid in prosecuting you because see, there's a duty on all of us as citizens. We even have the right to arrest people where we see them perpetrating a crime. So if the political parties make their rank and file, I know they don't do that. They can't do that. But they must do that if they love the country. That we won't give you that protection if you go and commit a crime. I think the chairman of the NDC made a statement in June 2025. And that's, in my opinion, that's his words must be played over and over again. That's where you commit an offense. You understand? You will not be protected because you belong to his party. Yeah. I think that was a profound statement, and we are not re-echoing it enough. You understand? Well, unless we show real commitment. You show real commitment at fighting for justice for the country. Commit a crime. It doesn't matter which political party you are a part of. And that elections are not excuses for you to commit crime. Unless we do that, then for me, my brother was a prophet in predicting that Chelsea will win. If there's something I can predict, because I know I don't do anything. If there's something I can predict, the Akwatia will be bloody.
No, but it shouldn't be.
I'm not talking about what should be.
It shouldn't be.
So that's why
I'm not talking about, and that's what I'm saying. That one, they must show by starting the prosecution of, because we all, as in fact, they were caught red-handed committing crimes. They should be arrested and prosecution began ASAP. Otherwise, I can predict. I'm saying that the reason why I'm prophesying because I don't trust that to do anything.
Okay.
Is that
just in 3 minutes?
Akwatia will be bloody.
Going to Akwatia, CODEO, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, they've issued a statement and they say, and they're asking for the president and the police council to order the IGP to institute an inquiry into this as quickly as possible. Inquiry
into
the incident,
which the current one.
Yes.
So that is what Lawyer Dankwa has said, and I agree. All right. In as much as I equally agree that whoever has committed one form of electoral violence or the other, should be brought to book. I don't want to entertain, the assumption that, look, every election in this country, is going to be characterized with violence. I think that one is a write-off. Okay, so going into Akwatia, I think that, yes, if there is anything that we want to see and describe as peaceful elections in Akwatia, the first step is that whatever happened at Ablekuma North, whoever was involved, whether intentional or unintentional, should be brought to book. And I agree with Lawyer Pierre Dankwa when he said that, as it is, political parties, the 2 major political parties, should start educating their people with regards to the fact that in an election, yes, you have the right to protect your own ballot and all that. But if you go and then you take the law into your own hands and perpetrate violence against your fellow human being, and which is against the law, no one is going to protect you. That one, I think that should be done. And again, the two major political parties should desist from the fact that, they always carry, their macho men with them, the tax, and then probably, take them in there, whether it is intentional or not, to go and then cause mayhem in these centers. I think that those things, should be avoided at all costs. And again, the security agencies, IGP and co, you need to exercise that kind of power that Ghanaians have entrusted into your hands. Okay, so that it is not an issue of political parties and it is not an issue of an individual. Okay, it is the good of the country, and you should do everything possible to ensure that we don't, spill blood in Akwatia, but you will see peace in Akwatia without people, being affected in one way or the other.
All right. Dr. Samuel Efree, what should be done by the two parties heading into Akwatia?
Roland, the two parties, I believe that they all have to meet and tend to discuss the issues at hand. And I agree to what the immediate panelists said about the police, that the police, I think IGP has failed at Ablekuma because his men were there, but they were not able to take any action. Action means that even though they tried to prevent some people, but they were, should I say, they were not well tooled in terms of weapons. And I think intelligence also failed because the police should have anticipated that based on precedents, runoff, or even any by-elections, we have seen some kind of these situations where political parties tend to use it against their opponents. And it's quite unfortunate that the police system, the police service were not able to use that intelligence to make sure that people were protected. You see, Roland, one of the strategies of these political parties having these tax is to gain advantage of, of each other. If they realize that they come in to disrupt and create a situation, you know that Ghanaians in general are peaceful people. So when they see any kind of actions that tends to see that there is a violent indication, then they tend to retrieve and then go to their shelves. That's how Ghanaians are. So these politicians and these political parties are using this to gain their own interest and selfish interest as such. They should not see themselves as only Ghanaians. Because if you don't belong to any party, you are not a Ghanaian. I think that they should be very careful. And as I said earlier, the political parties tends to mix, and then the security agencies also have to be, we have to be assured of tight security in Akwatia so that people can have the liberty to come and vote in during that time. Okay.
Adam, the former president had an interaction and said that he'd been ignored by his party. Just 3 minutes on it. My time is up. So.
Well, Roland, I think that the NPP as a political
Wait,
party...
let's play the video. Let's play the video. So it doesn't look like we're lying.
To the point, sir. Political party, political history. Like I said, this is 47 and back 69 this year. Nearly power for them. 2 years, 3 months, who's the time? Me, 69, maybe 30 years. We are member of parliament. We are founding member of Progress Party. 2 years, 3 months, who's the deputy foreign minister? I jump on 2 years. Them say, the team and number for president. They move 1 year, 3 months. Something like that, of course, we will be in another detention. But I know how they build.
Adam, what do you make of this?
Well, recently I met President Kufuor. Yeah, I've seen the video, and I feel...
You met him?
Yes, I feel sad listening to this video because recently I met President Kufuor at the opening of Despite's museum, and I had a brief interaction with him. And I made a comment to somebody that, I mean, despite his age, his IQ and his ability to express views on what is happening currently is very admirable.
His awareness level.
His awareness level. And I really appreciate him. In fact, I'm planning to pay him a visit one of these days and have an interaction with him. No, not because of this video. You see, for the NPP, let's accept the fact. And I have friends in the NPP who have consistently told me that aside collapsing Ghana's economy, aside destroying the beautiful country called Ghana, President Kufuor also succeeded in destroying the NPP as a political party. And that is the view that has come from some leading members of the NPP. And within the 8 years of Kufuor,
they told you that?
Oh, yes. And these are private, but you see, within the 8 years, aside his sycophants and those who were doing the praise singing of Kufuor, all the other leading members of the NPP were sidelined. What happened to the Nyahotama Close, the Atta Kennedys and co? And we have heard them make this comment that Kufuor did not only destroy Ghana, but he destroyed the NPP as a political party. Now, if you have a man with this fountain of wisdom and knowledge, institutional history about your political tradition, as President Kufuor, still alive, and you have sidelined him, even in rebuilding the party. That is why you have national executives going to make comment that we are boycotting elections. Then candidate comes to say that, no, I am going into the election. Clearly, this is why. Ablekuma North, the general secretary of NPP said they were boycotting. In the next few minutes, some aspirants and the candidate herself came out to declare that she was into the election, that she will not boycott. That tells you how confused, how disoriented the NPP as a political party is. They are not fit for purpose and should not even be fit to contest in assembly elections. No, but you can see that how disoriented they are, how disorganized they are. Roland, have you ever heard that a political party has started reorganization from a top to bottom approach, that you have to elect flag bearer first before you go and elect the electoral college that has the mandate to elect the flag? So this party, clearly this is a party that has been destroyed and a party that has collapsed beyond repairs by anyone. And President Kufuor is crying about it. And I will appeal that the young people in the MPP should take a cue from it. They should visit President Kufuor and they should start the reorganization by seeking wisdom, leadership, guidance from the likes of President Kufuor. After that, they should go and apologize to the likes of Nyahota Meklo. They should go and apologize to senior people, the Kojo PNMs and many others, and bring them back. Because clearly what we are seeing today is a party that has no leadership, a party that is not fit for purpose, a party that lacks organizational skills, a party that is so disorganized that you don't even know what is happening. I said beyond that, I've cited many other examples. The party is destroyed beyond measure.
3 minutes.
What?
Your reaction to this?
It's a very sad.
Somebody would have said it's not true, but the video, what do you make of it?
In fact, this is one of the most difficult situations I've been placed in.
Why?
I think it's open secret about the huge admiration and love I have for President Kufuor. As in, to an extent that I believe that he's arguably the greatest president we've had in this fourth republic. But I think that when you're analyzing the circumstances under which the familiar spirits took over the MPP, the familiar spirits took over the MPP. If I even stronger than the one in the Bible, because what the MPP we see now is not the MPP. It's just the face, but there's about 1 million familiar spirits have taken over the party. When Anadu led that effort in inviting the familiar spirits to take over the party, some of the elders of the party who were still there, some of the people who understood the values and principles of the party, some of the people who represented the good spirit of the party, including President Kufuor himself, sat down and said nothing. When all the evils were being done the party, when the party was being destroyed, when the party was being shifted from its core ideals and values, the elders of the party at that time, and the biggest elder of the party was the one who led the MPP in all its glory. Between 2001, as in when we came into government. You understand? Exhibited the proper MPP, what the proper MPP could do when given a chance to lead. He sat down, President Kufuor sat down, and didn't say anything. He didn't say anything when people were being hounded. And it's sad that I have to sit on set and say this. But I feel that there was so much he could have done. Instead of just sitting down and watching on, or that perception. If he was doing things behind the scenes, we didn't know. But just a statement at that time, in those dark moments, just a statement from His Excellency President Kufuor could have done so much to save the party. But from where I sit right now, and I think the evidence was there over the weekend, for a party to come out and say that, listen, sat down with NEC, the claim it was NEC, that we are boycotting this election. And the same NEC members, led by His Excellency Mahmoud Bawumia, Lloyd Amwa, Miracle Abuache, all of them defied the clear orders of NEC. You understand? This party right now, who think that in reorganizing, in this their deepest moment of need, they think they want to do the reorganization from the top to the down. This party that can lose Ablekuma North, a seat where, on the average, they've been winning by over 50,000 votes. It tells you how the people have lost confidence in the integrity, in the value set of the party. Right now, we are recognizing that the MPP, as we are seeing now, is not MPP. It's like an evil spirit having taken possession of. Listen. Sometimes we need to speak truth to power. The MPP, as it stands now, is not MPP. This is. For instance, of course, so the better name MPP.
Just because President Kufuor said that.
I've said this on your show so many times. I've told you before. So don't pretend like I'm saying this because President Kufuor. The MPP, as we are seeing now, is a party, they bear the name MPP, but it's akin to Prof. Let me use you as an example. Like Prof sitting here, let's say evil spirit possessed Prof. So you see, Prof, Prof, let me use you. That's why I begged you, let me use you. So you see, Prof, handsome Prof, very smart Prof. But when Prof speaks, you know that it's not Prof speaking because familiar spirits, evil spirits, millions of them have possessed Prof. So you are seeing the name MPP, you see the flag, you see the Osuno. But really, it's not Osuno. It's not the red, the white, and the blue. What really it is familiar spirit. A party filled with
capture.
The party is filled with familiar spirit.
But you are part of the party. Why are you all of a sudden?
I told you. So why you think I'll just... When we're leaving, we told you that we have not shifted from those ideals. They have shifted. Familiar spirit party. Let Prof talk, say it on.
No. Does it mean that going by the testimony of the former president, and for him to make this publicly, because Brian Echampon is having a number of engagements because he wants to be the flag bearer of the party, for him to say this publicly, knowing this will go public, it must have taken something.
You see,
it means that he wants some things to be done, right?
Yes, the Bible says something in Proverbs.
You're quoting the Bible again?
Yeah. That in a multitude of counselors.
In the multitude of counselors,
purposes are established.
In the multitude of counselors.
Yeah, purposes are established. You see that I'm quoting this verse because MPP remains the only political party in Ghana with 2 living former presidents. 2 living.
Say that
they
again.
Are still alive. 2 former presidents who are still alive.
That is former President Kufuor
and
former President Nana Kufuor. What's the point with this?
Yeah, the point is that when these 2 heads with experiences in government, with experiences in politics are alive, then every decision that we take should be guided, all right, probably by their direction or advice. So for President Kufuor to have come out to say that, he has been neglected, then it means that he is now seeing a situation where certain critical decisions are taken, and he is not consulted, or, Nana Akufo-Addo is equally not consulted.
He didn't speak for Akufo-Addo.
No, he spoke for himself. Yes.
So let's not bring in
the
one who is destroying the party, who is making sure they
Oh, no.
please.
So please. No. Oh, but then why would we go?
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Let's.
You have 3 minutes.
Adam.
Okay, so because it's Akufo-Addo that is behind the sidelining. So I need to let you shouldn't put Akufo-Addo and Kufuor together.
The former president
that's all I'm saying.
He didn't mention the former president.
He didn't mention, but we all know.
The former president didn't mention the former president.
No, but we all know.
So what I'm saying is that if probably, the MPP party will recognize, the kind of authority of Kufuor and see Kufuor as a key stakeholder, within the decision-making processes of the MPP, then I think that future decisions, they need to probably go to him for direction and for counsel. But if they will go ahead, because for me, as far as I am concerned, I have met Kufuor on 2 occasions, all right? And anytime he speaks, you will see that, his mind, his IQ.
Very intelligent man.
Well, intact. In recent times when I met him,
his wisdom.
Utah visited him during the time that the wife passed, when we visited him. The kind of experiences that he shared with us, I was like, so this man at his age has this kind of, memory. It's too sharp for anybody to, and when he's talking in politics and doing that kind of analysis and all that, you love him. You see, so I think that with that kind of resource seated, I don't see why, this kind of confusion should be brewing in the MPP.
You think his utterances mean that really there's confusion in MPP?
That's what I see.
Okay. Dr. Samuel Free, what do you make of the former president's comments on him being sidelined in the MPP and his decision-making, and particularly making reference to so-called crisis, that he hasn't been called in to give counsel?
Yeah, Roland, one of the key things that the MPP is facing, of which we have admonished that they need to ensure that these political activists tends to bring in the former president, that is the Kufuor, into the face of all what is going on, is that it tends to ensure that these peace reign. The statement that he made presupposed that he has been sidelined, and that is a fact. Because if it is not, it could not have happened that he would tend to make some kind of decisions, because he is an experienced politician from all these while. He's one of the experienced politicians and also former president. So when he sits at the back, he can direct what the MPP, and I think that they should bring him on board. But I am disappointed about the platform that he used. This is a party affair, and I believe that it should have gone to the party platform. Maybe the council, if the council is meeting, he can go there. They won't sack him. You sit there and then tell them to their face. And that is where I have a problem of the platform that he used. But the fact is that he has been sidelined for a while, and that is a way that he wants to express his view on that. And I think he has to come on board. I don't know whether it's within these 6 months that he has been sidelined, or about 8 years ago, or 10 years ago, I don't know. But it seems because now of late, they are bringing him on board. I don't know where he is starting from, where he has been sidelined, but I think that he has to get on board, and the party needs to accommodate him as well, and also listen to him. So that, because I believe that I watched a video and he was confronting the minority leader, Pedro Marquez, that he has been saying that he's not been coming. I think he has been seen as, should I use a god, in quotes, that people will visit him. But when they meet as group and as a decision-making unit, they tend not to bring him on board. So they should get him on board, so that, because now the party needs a unifier. The National Executive has collapsed as a party, and the unifier of the MPP will be President Kufuor. he is the one that people are ready to listen, and he's the one to break all chains in the party. So they should make use of him now, as the party is in a state of disarray, so that they bring them together and then ensure that they go on as a party.
I always like your analysis, especially because you're based in Kumasi, the hub of the. When you say the national executive have collapsed, what do you mean?
What I see is that if the national executive is not active, you see most of the decisions taken by the National Council or the Council of and you see that now the chairman is inactive. We have the first, vice, second, and you know the secretary is not commanding enough kind of control because of where he's coming from, because of his cloud. And in dealing with this party, the MPP party, you need to have a cloud as a secretary. You need to have a background kind of experience. And I've been saying that if you match these executives boot for the NDC, I think the MPP is not much into that. And that is where it's affecting the party, because there's inexperience, and also some kind of way that because the chairman was not well, you don't see anyone covering up. You don't see the national executive. That is most of, I think Nanabi should also be more active than before. But these things were not being seen. And it's quite unfortunate that they're inactive in terms of their activities, in terms of foresight, has made the party not to be strong. And that is why the national executive are taking most of their decisions. Thank you very much, Dr. Samuel Efrie, for joining us. And then Dr. Tutu Boahen as well. Thank you. And then Edem Agbana, thank you as well, who intends going to visit the former president. And then also lawyer Pierre Dankwa. Thank you very much as well. One of the proteges.
Which honorable Dr. Veji, happy birthday for me, my predecessor.
Oh, okay.
Today is his birthday. He's now the DG for SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission.
Okay. And
you won't do that. I want you to wish him
a happy birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday to you, Mr. Aveji.
Doctor.
Okay, Doctor.
Honorable Doctor.
Okay.
James Kluche Aveji.
A happy birthday to you, the Honorable Dr. James Kluche Aveji, who is the Executive Secretary for the Securities and Exchange Commission. Is that the right
Yes, and former MP for Ketu North.
And former MP for Ketu North, Chairman of the
Public Accounts Committee.
Distinguished Public Accounts Committee. Wishing you all the best, sir. And then also Abiba Soma, Ghana National Association of Teachers. You're based in Tamale. Happy birthday to you as well. You're standing for that. Master Planner Junior said the MPP leadership should quickly as possible apologize to former President Kufuor. We cannot do that to him. Okay. And all of you who have sent us, I see Evans, Ibn Samba, Andy Agler as well, BT Sly, Prince, Nanea York, and let me read this. This one is from some top ACP in the police service. It says there were violent incidents, even gunshots in Asin North. In fact, the pockets of violent cases in Asin North were more than in Ablekuma North. Let's put the phenomenon in its right context. And thank you for those as well. And Kwesi Mensah and all the rest. But we also have to tell you that if you want to look smart and fashionable, visit any Wudin boutique nationwide, and you have to do that today. So Wudin offers amazing collection of authentic African fabrics and ready to wear that all come in beautiful designs and colors for all sexes, both men and women. Now with Wudin, you can get creative and versatile with your designs. Be confident and show off how truly African you are in Wudin. Go to a Wudin boutique near you today and choose